Hey guys, welcome to our service tonight. I just want to let you know what's going on. So we are going to have an interview, we are going to have a devotional, and then afterwards we're going to have small groups. And so I want to invite you now to hang around after, get on Zoom, and hang out with your small group leaders. They haven't seen you in a while, we haven't had good conversations, but we want to connect with you tonight. Alright, so before we get into that part, let's check out this interview that I did with a few of the middle school girls in our ministry. Check it out. Hey everyone, welcome to our next interview in our station interview series. I have 3 middle school girls with me that are pretty influential in our youth ministry. Let's bring them in now. I have Caitlin and Chloe and Grace. What's up, ladies? How are you guys?
Hi.
Good? Good. Grace, you doing good?
I'm doing okay.
Yeah. Chloe?
I'm doing okay.
Yes. And Caitlin, this is like homeschool life's normal for you. You're feeling good, right? You're
Kinda. Yep.
home court advantage. A little bit.
I'm homeschooled too.
You're homeschool? I didn't know that. I learned something.
Yeah.
So Grace, you're the only public school kid.
Yeah, I've been homeschooled before, but this is
Oh.
different because my work only takes like an hour.
Yeah, it's weird. It's different for sure. All right, well, thanks for spending some time with me. I have a few fun questions for you, okay? And so I'm going to ask you a question, and you just have to give the first answer that you think of, all right? Don't overthink these. First one,
Okay.
left or right?
Right. Right.
Right.
Do you say right too, Grace?
Yeah.
All right, left was the correct answer. All right, sunny or rainy?
Wait, what?
Sunny.
Sunny or rainy? Would you rather it be sunny or rainy?
Sunny.
Rainy. I can stay in and watch TV.
What'd you say, Grace?
I was going on walks.
So you say sunny?
Yeah.
Okay. Hot or cold?
Hot.
Oh,
You're cold, Chloe. Grace, what'd you say?
yeah.
Hot.
Beach or the mountains?
Beach.
Beach.
Mountain.
Chloe, I was wondering if you were just gonna say rainy, cold mountains, like all the kind of gloomy stuff, but you like the beach?
Yeah.
All right. But Grace, you're the mountain person.
I love going to Boone, so
I get that. I like Boone too. It's pretty cool. Okay, cat or dog?
I like both of them.
Dog.
Chloe, cat or dog?
Dog.
All dogs?
Yep.
I've yet to see somebody say cat because cats are the worst. So I agree with that.
Yep.
All right.
Aren't that bad?
No, they're pretty terrible, Chloe. They're
Yeah.
like in every cat versus dog movie, cats are always the bad guy. Every time.
Yeah.
The only time
I
cats
used to
are good,
have 4 cats and then they died.
well, they broke your heart. See, they're the worst.
But it lived outside.
Well, Grace?
I had one cat, but it lived outside.
Yeah, I had one cat once and it tried to scratch me. And so ever since then, I hated cats. It was,
And
a-
I've
it was
never
a
had a
black
cat.
What?
I said, and I've never had a cat because I'm highly allergic.
See? Cats
Oh,
are the
yeah,
worst.
right.
Cats are the
Yep.
worst. Okay. So Grace and Chloe, you guys are D&D people, right?
Yeah.
All
Even
right.
though I'm kind of new to it, but yeah.
Okay, so tell me, D&D is in Dungeons and Dragons. Tell me why, or better, what is it that people think is wrong about D&D that's actually really cool? Do you know what I mean? Like, it has a stigma about it. Like, why is D&D actually cooler than people think?
I feel like most people think it's weird and stuff because, like, you know, you're imagining things that aren't real and, you know, you kind of like living a fantasy world. But it also helps, I don't really know how to put it, but, like, it helps, like, your imagination, I guess, and
Yeah.
just, like, to, like, think of things that nobody else does because, you know, you live in, you know, like, I feel like most people, like, assume that, like, if you play that, you kind of, like, in a fantasy world. You don't really, like, live in real life. You live in this fantasy world that you, like, play in. But I think it helps with your, like, imagination and just, like, helps with other things too.
Good, that's a good answer. What do you think, Grace?
Well, my parents told me when I first started playing D&D, when they were younger, a lot of people thought like people who played D&D really thought the fantasy world was real, and they would like get themselves hurt going and try to find a dragon egg or something, which is definitely not real.
Yeah.
In all reality, we're just having fun and role playing and making our own characters and just exploring whatever our minds create.
Yeah. No, it's been really cool. I've read some articles and some research how people have used D&D to get over like anxiety disorders, and even sometimes people with special needs, like just a chance to get them to escape their like own reality type thing and act out feelings they didn't know how to express themselves. You know what I mean? Like it's a really cool tool. I think it's
I was getting ready to just say it's a good coping mechanism and stuff for some people too.
yeah, I believe that. I really do. Cool. All right, Caitlin, along the same lines, you love baking,
Yep.
right? You're a baking person. All right, it has nothing to do with D&D, but I just thought it'd be funny. But so what's some of your favorite things to bake?
Kind of just like basic cupcakes, cookies, pie,
Yeah, do you have
stuff
a
like
favorite, do you have like a favorite recipe that you like to use, or do you like to do it in a different way than other people do it?
that. Kind of, it just depends. It not really anything certain, but I like baking from scratch better than like just a box.
Okay. Do you ever do you still measure, or do you measure precisely, or do you just guess?
I usually measure, but if it's recipe that I've made before, sometimes I just like guess,
You-
estimate.
Some of your recipes, you have a good feel for it, like you can see how much a cup and a
Yep.
half of whatever is.
Mhm.
Okay, so if I told you to make one dessert, like if you were going to impress this boy you liked and you had to give him like this one dessert to wow him, what would be the dessert you would make?
Strawberry cheesecake.
Ooh, that's a good one. Angela makes banana cream pie. Not banana cream pie. She makes banana pudding. My grandma used to make banana cream pie. She makes banana pudding, and I love it. It's so good. It's so good. I've made a dessert before. I don't know if you know this, but I've made a dessert, chocolate lava cake, and it's extremely frustrating. But when it happens, it's incredible. I picked like the hardest dessert ever to try to like make my first dessert. It was stupid. It was dumb. Have you guys ever heard of Great British
Hey.
Bake Off?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes. Like
No.
Chloe, you need to watch good TV. So I watched that show and I got obsessed with chocolate molten lava cakes, and so I tried to make some. And it was like a thing. I did it for like a week and I tried to make a bunch, and sometimes they were good, most of the time they were bad. It was intense. It's intense. Were you gonna say something, Chloe?
Nah, I changed my mind.
Okay. All right. I have two more questions for you. All right. First one, best youth group memory. What is your best youth group memory so far?
I know this probably sounds really cheesy, but like probably meeting my friends because I didn't really have that good of friends before I came to youth group. So
Oh, that's a good one. That's the answer I want to hear.
and like coming closer to God too, because I wasn't exactly that close to God because I didn't really like the church that we went to at the time.
Okay.
It wasn't like it didn't really put the fun in learning about God and stuff. So like I'm really glad that like youth group has helped me with that, and then we got to transfer to this church too. So yeah.
Perfect. That's a good answer. Yeah, it's fun when you like when learning about God is brings you closer to community too, because I think those things tie hand in hand. You know what I mean? Like it's a big
Yeah.
deal that you get a chance to get closer to God, but then the community aspect as well. What do you think, Grace or Caitlin? What's your guys' favorite youth group memory, or a fun one?
Um,
You can go, Grace.
I'm still thinking about it, so you can go.
Okay. My two favorite memories are Color Wars because those are always amazing, and after youth camp when everybody was sharing their testimonies.
Yeah, that's when I learned you had this little speaking talent in you. Was after that. I remember that. That was good. All right, Grace, you get one. It doesn't have to be your like the best one, just whatever fun one popped into your head.
Well, when Chloe was talking about meeting friends and stuff, I remember when I first met her and Caitlin, and Chloe had just dyed her hair with a Sharpie.
Wait, you did that?
Yes, I did. It was the dumbest thing I ever did, but yeah, I did
Like, you
that.
colored each hair with a Sharpie?
No, so I saw a video of where you take those Crayola markers and you squeeze the ink out of them. So I was like, if I get a permanent marker like a Sharpie, it'll last longer. So I decided to do it like that. So yeah, it did not go well. It really
Did it go
didn't.
well?
I don't recommend it.
No. That is the weirdest thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
I was too broke for hair dye, so that's what I
Did
did.
you just take the Sharpie and just squeeze all of it out?
It took me a whole hour, and I barely got enough to color my whole bang. So yeah, I do not recommend it.
Quality. And there's Greg's feedback.
Quality.
Not
Yeah.
good. No.
All right, last question. What are you most looking forward to do this summer?
Camp.
Camp, because I didn't
Definitely
get to go last year.
That is a
I
good
really wanted
answer.
to
I
go.
didn't even pay you guys to make that answer. That's a great answer. Good job. All right, ladies. Well, thanks for hanging out with me for a few minutes. I appreciate it. It was fun. Any last parting words of wisdom?
Don't dye your hair with Sharpies.
Perfect. That's a good one. I like it. All right, ladies. Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
I just wanted to pray over you before Pastor Chris brings his message. So let's go ahead and pray. Lord, I thank you so much for this time and this place that we can gather but not in person. Lord, I pray that you will just be with Chris as he brings this message. Please let it touch each and every one of our hearts, Lord. I pray, Lord, right now we're going through a really hard time. I pray that you will just rid all of the anxiety, fear, and worry and discouragement. Lord, I pray that you will just be with each and every one of us right now and help us be able to do what you want us to do and reach people and spread the gospel even though we cannot do that in person. Lord, I pray that you will just be with each and every one of us tonight, and I pray that you will just give us peace about all of the things that are happening right now. I pray this all in Jesus' name. Amen.
I want you to think about the last time someone told you a story. It doesn't matter if it was a good story or a bad story. People love telling stories, right? Some people are really good at telling long, thought out, intense stories. Some people have to tell quick stories. Some people forget about what they're saying halfway through the story. Like some people might have told you the same story over and over and over again, right? Stories are a big part of our culture. It's a big part of the way we communicate to one another. When I tell stories, I have a phrase that I love to use, which is, so what had happened was. That's a phrase I love to do, I love to use, especially when someone questions the story that I'm telling or tries to tell one of my stories the wrong way. They'll say something like, no, really, what had happened was this. For example, have I ever told you the story of a super embarrassing moment I had, probably the most embarrassing moment I had in school? It was in science class, right? And so what had happened was there was a test going on. I had a little rumbling in my stomach. Didn't know what was going to happen. I thought I could let it out quietly. I'm sitting in the back of the class. Might be a little stinky, but no one would know it would come from me, right? And so that moment happens. Can't take it any longer. Let the gas go. But instead of it being quiet and inconspicuous, no, it is this loud, high-pitched noise that seems to last about 20 minutes, right? Probably only a few seconds. Felt like 20 minutes. I was just putting my head down in my test, looked up, all eyes are on me, right? It happened, I was taking a test, I farted, my life is over. Like that was the story. And stories were not just a big part of our culture, stories were a big part of Jesus' culture as well. Jesus loved to communicate with stories. If you read through the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, you would see over and over again that Jesus loved to communicate in stories. This is one of the main ways that he tried to prove his point or communicate his point to people. Whether it was his disciples, the Pharisees, or just other people that were trying to learn, this was the way that Jesus chose to communicate. And so for the next few weeks, this is what I want to do. We're going to be in a So What Had Happened Was series. It's a story series. And in the Bible, we refer to Jesus' stories as parables. And so we're going to talk about a few. We're going to start tonight in Luke chapter 12. Right? Luke chapter 12 tells this parable, tells this story in a way that Jesus tells a lot of his stories. Right? And so I just want to get right into it. So Luke chapter 12, start in verse 13. We're going to walk through the next few verses. Start in verse 13. Someone in the crowd said to him, "Teacher, tell my brother to divide the inheritance with me." So this guy wanted the money or the inheritance that he thought he was owed. In that culture, the older brother got 2/3 of the inheritance. All the other brothers split the rest. And so this guy was at a point where he's like, "Jesus, I want my inheritance. You're a teacher. I need you to tell my brother to do this. I need you to go after it." And if we pause for a second, there's something interesting about this, right? We see that the questions people ask or the statements people say reveal what their hearts really feel. It reveals their true motives. Right? For this guy, he was at a point in his life, he didn't really care about anything else. All he cared about was getting the money he was owed. He wanted what was rightfully his, and then he was done with it. Right? And so this question directly towards Jesus revealed this dude's motives. And his motive was kind of selfishly. And you may be thinking, hey, if I had an inheritance, I would want it right now too, which may be true. For this guy, it seems pretty aggressive. And for some reason, he thought that Jesus would be able to take care of this for him. But Jesus has a way of seeing through things, right? And so this was his response. In verse 14, Jesus replied, "Man, who appointed me as a judge or an arbiter between you?" Then he said to them, "Watch out, be on your guard against all kinds of greed. Life does not consist in abundance of possessions." And so this is what Jesus would do. He would ask a question, he would try to get painted in a corner, people would try to expose him as a fraud, and Jesus would see through it every time. And so he's like, hey, don't put me in a position that I am not supposed to be in. I'm not a judge, I'm not going to handle this, but I would be careful of it. And then he goes on to tell a story. This "so what had happened" moment. Verse 16, and he told them this parable. The ground of a certain rich man yielded an abundant harvest. He thought to himself, "What shall I do? I have no place to store my crops." Then he said, "This is what I'll do. I will tear down my barns and build bigger ones, and there I will store my surplus of grain. I will say to myself, you have plenty of grain laid up for many years. Take life easy, eat, drink, and be merry." But God said to him, "You fool, this very night your life will be demanded from you. Then you will get what you have prepared for yourself. This is how it will be with whoever stores up things for themselves, but is not rich toward God." So this is kind of an intense story, right? It starts kind of simple, and then all of a sudden, Jesus turns it, and it gets intense, and it gets real. And if we're honest, it kind of gets a little awkward, right? And let's break it down a little bit. And so this harvest, these things that this rich guy is trying to store up, I think is so much bigger than just money, right? Jesus is going towards an action that's bigger than just money. Because I don't believe Jesus is going to hold against people who are successful in their lives. Right? Like if you are in a position in your life when you graduate and you go off to college and you start your career and you're able to be very successful, or you have a lot of money, or whatever that looks like, I don't think Jesus is going to hold that against you. I don't think Jesus is mad when people are in jobs or career or build a life where they are successful and earn money. Like I don't think that's bad in itself. I think what Jesus is talking about is this deeper conversation. This conversation of not just the fact that you may have money. It was not an issue that this guy had land where he had a lot of abundance. That wasn't the problem. The problem was he wanted to build bigger and bigger and bigger barns to store all of that. And this is where Jesus had a problem. This was the conversation. It's like, like, yes, you can have all these things, but man, if you die, who's going to enjoy that? What's that going to look like? And for us, we may not be in a situation right now where we have a lot of money, right? You're middle school and high school students, you have no money. Some of you may have jobs, but it's probably not great paying ones. But the principle's still the same. So while you may not have a ton of money, you do have things to offer people. And on the other side of it, you do have things that you can be selfish with. You may not be selfish with your money, but you may be selfish with your time. You may be selfish with your words. You may be selfish with your actions. I know I was. I know at times I am. And so while it may not always be a money issue, this kind of speaks to a heart issue, which is what Jesus does. He tells stories in a way, in a situation that people can relate to, but very rarely is it just about the story. Almost every time it's about the heart. And that's where I think Jesus is talking about. And we really see it in verse 18 and 19. Then he said, "This is what I'll do. I will tear down my barns and build bigger ones. And there I will store my surplus of grains. And I will say to myself, you have plenty of grain laid up for many years. Take life easy, eat, drink, and be merry." I think this man fell into a situation that we can fall into, where you achieve a goal and you feel like you've succeeded or you've arrived, and then you put your feet up and you're like, all right, I'm just going to hang out now. It's a very me-focused attitude. Whether it's you focused in your grades, you focused in the sports team that you're a part of, you focused in the club that you're a part of, you focused in your own family, we just tend to look out for ourselves. And when we've achieved whatever we want to achieve, we put our feet up and we go on with our lives. But I don't think Jesus calls us to be satisfied that way. I don't think that's enough for him. Right? All throughout the Gospels, all throughout Jesus' teaching, he has this one point that he pushes over and over again. Love others the way that you love yourself. And we are in a moment right now. We are in a time right now where we feel so isolated and so alone that we're constantly worried about how this affects us. I wonder if we've asked the question of how this affects others. How does it affect those that I went to school with? How does it affect those that maybe I was very close with? Those that I was not very close with? Some that are hurting, some who do not have as good of home life as I do, some who may not have a lot of money or food or resources. How is this affecting them? And we have a tendency of storing up all the good things that we can do, or even wallowing in all the things that frustrate us, that we put blinders on and we forget about this world that's around us. And in the story, I think Jesus is reminding us, hey, don't build bigger and bigger buildings to put all of our stuff in, or to just worry about the stuff that we have. No, instead give. Instead look out. Because once this life's over, man, everything we built is just fleeting. But the people that we can influence, that can last forever. That can change eternity. And so that's kind of where we're at tonight. Right? That we're at this point of, are the decisions we're making, are the conversations we're having, do they help affect other people? And I'm not saying just go call people and automatically tell them about Jesus and try to get them saved and all the things. No. Are we just willing to have conversations with other people? Especially conversations that have nothing to do with us. Are we willing to call someone, text someone, write someone a letter, and it be solely focused on them? How are they feeling? How are they doing? How can we help them? Instead of about us. It's funny, I've been having a lot of conversations with people what they feel like God has been teaching them through this pandemic. And one of the common things that I've been hearing is that God has stripped away things and they've tried to focus on their family or try to reveal what's really important. And that's amazing. And I don't want this to be lost with it as well. Is that through all this, God can teach us that we need a community now more than ever. And it can't always be ones that we see every day. It can't always be ones that are in our area. We have to remember those who might be lost and forgotten. And I speak about this a lot. It's because I don't want us to miss opportunities to help those that are really hurting. And we're at a time where loneliness and isolation and frustration and suicidal thoughts and all these things are at the highest they've been in a very long time. And not that it's our responsibility every time to pull people out of the darkness, but we do get at times I think we do get the joy of joining other people on their journey. And this is that time. That instead of building up all of our positions, spending all of our time building up the next high score in our video game or even reading the next chapter in our books or do the next thing that make us feel better, was it to tear down those buildings and instead of trying to help other people build up theirs, to build up their self-esteem, to build up their joy, to build up their hope. And as we do that, we may have a conversation or may have an opportunity to say, hey, I love you, but I know someone who loves you more. I know this guy named Jesus who loves you more than I even do. And so as I pray, I want you to think about that. I want you to think about ways that you can invest in the lives of those around you. Maybe through a text, and maybe through a phone call, maybe through a letter, whatever it is. But I really challenge you this week to try to invest in someone else's life. My guess is you spend a lot of time investing in yours. I spent a lot of time investing in mine over the last few weeks, couple months. Let's try to invest in others. Let's pray. Father God, I thank you so much for today. I thank you so much for what you've blessed us with. I thank you so much for what you've given us. And so God, right now I pray that we think of others. And that instead of investing in our own big buildings, we invest in trying to build up others. Help other people build their buildings. Help other people build their self-esteem or their joy or their hope. And through those opportunities, we can point them back to you, God. So we love you and praise you. In your name, amen. Hey guys, we're going to get ready to jump on Zoom. So go to Zoom. I should have already sent you the link. If not, send me an email or text me, and I'll send you the link, and we'll connect in our